Tell us the origin story of Island Events and what inspired its creation. What was here in 1973?
I was going to say Charles Fraser.
And his alligator.
And his walking alligator.
It was really just sea pines then? Because right now we get how many visitors a year? Probably.
It's in the millions. So it's, I believe the estimate is right around 2 million.
Do locals use it and utilize it, do you think?
Can you give us an example of a hidden gem that you would recommend?
You need to see Hilton Head by bicycle.
I wanted to touch base too on the bike thing. I need to do this from a bike.
And you are able to stop. In a car, you're not able to stop. Or say, what's that path go to? Or where's this?
And also, I mean, the signage, it's already not very visible. Which I personally like.
Love.
Yeah, I love that. But you're able to actually read the signs when you're on a bike.
Yeah.
Oh, that's where this road is.
Yes.
Or stop off and read something historic. You don't realize how much history is around you.
And we have the plaques.
The amount of placards everywhere and the plaques.
Oh, but where do they go?
Yeah,
So-
what are the two events?
So your two firework big locations, like I said, are Sea Pines and Palmetto Dunes, or across the street over at Shelter Cove. So that would be my advice is just, and remember whether you're living here or you're on vacation, just be patient, give it time. It's sometimes you just get into the grind of things and it's just enjoy it for how incredible it is.
And the fact that you're sitting on this island.
Welcome to Real Talk Hilton Head with David and Dale Cross, the real estate lifestyle podcast of Coastal Carolina.
Join us as we share stories from our community, insight into the local lifestyle, and the real scoop on real estate.
From market trends to home design, we dive deep into what it means to live and thrive here.
Discover the state of mind and philosophy of the Low Country that enriches life through personal growth, health and wellness, and human connection.
Whether you're a local or thinking of becoming one, we're here to guide you through the ins and outs of living this coastal escape.
Tune in, relax, and enjoy the conversation with Real Talk Hilton Head,
The podcast of Coastal Carolina.
This episode is brought to you by the David Dale team, powered by eXp Realty in Hilton Head.
Welcome to Real Talk Hilton Head. This episode is the start of something we've been dreaming about for a long time.
For a very long time. Every month people ask us, what's happening on the island? What's the best event this weekend? Where should we go to see fireworks, live music, take the grandkids?
Our goal, as you know, is to be your trusted guide from everything Hilton Head and Bluffton. Because living here is about more than just buying or selling a home. It's about embracing the lifestyle.
Yeah.
We're here to go beyond the real estate and connect you to the true heartbeat of the Low Country. That being its culture, the people, and the everyday rhythm. Whether you're a long-time local or just discovering the island for the first time.
So what we've done is we partner with somebody who's been here from the very beginning, serving Hilton Head's visitor community, the locals, the local businesses, and they've been doing it for decades with a true boots on the ground, locally produced guide that brings the island to life. And starting this month, we're going to be teaming up with Island Events Magazine and HiltonHead.com. And we're going to be bringing you a regular Low Country Roundup featuring insider insights, curated events, top attractions, and seasonal tips, all from the local team that's been helping put Hilton Head on the map for decades.
They're truly one of the originals. They're locally rooted with thoroughly thought out curated insights and research. They know the island, they know the seasons, and they know our culture. And they've earned the trust from both visitors and locals by doing it well year after year. Starting July 2025 and going forward, Island Events Magazine will bring you a curated insider's guide to what's happening on the island right here on the Real Talk Hilton Head podcast.
That's right. So from now on, this segment is your new go-to. Whether you're visiting, hosting, or just looking to live more fully this Low Country lifestyle, this regular episode will be your trusted guide to what's happening on and around the island. And we couldn't be more excited to kick off this first episode with Erika Hayes, account executive at Island Events. Well, welcome to the show, Erika.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for coming on. We've been so excited for you to join us in this episode and some exciting things we have ahead.
Yeah, it's very exciting. I mean, let's just jump into it. What do you say? So, Erika, we want to start, obviously Island Events Magazine, That's what we're here to talk about. Tell us the origin story of Island Events and what inspired its creation and what's the core mission behind the magazine.
Sure thing. So Island Events magazine, if you're not familiar, is that digest-sized publication. Some people call it the tiny magazine.
Yeah, so Asher, pay attention here.
So that is the tiny publication.
And we'll put it up on the screen, yep.
And we are a 11 issue a year publication. The only combo issue we have is for January and February. But we are a visitor predominant publication. We're a visitor guide to Hilton Head and the Low Country. Yeah. So our origins is we pride ourselves on being the original guide to Hilton Head. We started in 1973.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah,
What was here in 1973?
I was going to say Charles Fraser.
And his alligator.
And walking in
So
the gator.
it was really just sea pines then,
It
for
really
the most
was
part?
just sea pines and just people who were already living and working on Hilton Head. But I don't even know if the bridge was, the current bridge was operational when Island Events started. Yeah. So we're in our 52nd year, which is a huge milestone.
That is.
So our mission really is just to be an informational, whether it's for visitors or locals, with visitors being our primary, but we just want to get information about Hilton Head and the greater Low Country just to make it free and accessible to anyone.
Wow.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So do you know how many people, out of curiosity, what the population was back then and what the visitor, because right now we get how many visitors a year? Probably.
It's in the millions. So it's, I believe the estimate is right around 2 million per year. I'd have to double check those statistics.
Yeah. No, we won't hold you to it, yeah.
But it's how many actual residents were in the 70s.
Yeah.
That one I do not know. Yeah. I know it's definitely not what it was today.
What it is
Yeah,
today.
it is today,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
that's fascinating though, that you guys, 52 years.
52 years, and it's some of our staff have been there from the beginning, which is really.
What?
So you have people that have been there nearly 52 years with you?
Someone who does not a lot of work because she's semi-retired.
Yeah.
She started in accounting, and she still proofreads the magazine.
Wow.
Every single issue.
What ownership, right?
Yeah, and it's and I think having a singular owner who's been here for a very, very long time, it makes that difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So
amazing.
you're truly a local originated magazine.
Yeah, it's for a tourism-based publication. We really are locally rooted.
Do you find, do you have any way of measuring, do locals use it and utilize it, do you think?
From a local perspective, we do get utilized, especially in our evergreen material. Like you're going to find the tide chart, you're going to find just bike path information, you're going to find just generic information for locals, and also our calendar of events is going to be very popular.
Right.
Yes, that's a
And-
huge part of the magazine,
Yes,
right?
and it's island events.
Exactly.
Like we are event based as our prominence, and so you're going to find more activities than anything else. And I think that from a local perspective too is that locals, if you live on Hilton Head, you get visitors.
Yes, you do.
It's
Yep.
not
Yes,
a
you
hard
do.
sell to
Yep.
have someone come see you every month. So sometimes when you live here and you get out of the swing of being on vacation, you kind of forget what's happening.
Yeah.
So we do find that a lot of locals use it in that perspective too, is just to kind of reconnect to being more on that.
And
visitor
that's how, I've used it. When I've picked up the magazine, when we know we have people coming in, or if you're looking for things to do different with the kids in the summertime, or just with family, I thumb through that all the time and like, whoa, I didn't know that was happening, or great, you know.
Because sometimes it's just so easy to fall out of that when you're working your 9 to 5, when you're just, you're out of the hospitality industry, even though the entire island is hospitality based. It's easy to kind of fall out of being connected in the what's going on Hilton Head.
Yeah, get into your little routine.
You get
It's
your
nice to
routine.
expand it.
Yeah.
For sure.
And we love to do that, just because you can, as a local, you have all your responsibilities while you're still living here. You live in a beautiful place, but you can get stuck into what you need to do. So we like to shake it up, and we'll go down to Coligny and get into the vibe of vacation. And this is just another avenue to do it, just to shake out of your normal routine. And I think
And to remind yourself that you live in one of the
That's right.
premier
That's
vacation destinations in the world.
It's a lifestyle place.
You live on vacation, even though sometimes it doesn't feel like that. But
Yes.
it's what a beautiful rut to be in. If you're in a rut, it's like, wow, you're surrounded by palmetto trees. Like, what a rut. But it's it is kind of a rut if you start to get just where you're only doing your routine.
Well, that's
I went for a bike. We went for a bike ride yesterday, and Dale was heading back to get to work, and I was like, I'm just going to keep going. And I was biking down
Whooping Green.
High Bluff.
Oh, High Bluff.
And just going off into the little neighborhoods, and all that. And just literally it hit me like, oh my gosh, like I'm about to go to work, which is fine, but I'm like, this is like my life.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
pinch me, Forrest Gump, how did I get here?
I do it every day, every time I cross the bridge.
The bridge.
Oh, the bridge.
That's our big thing.
This is what I do. This is
I know.
really cool.
Yeah.
This is a great place.
Yeah.
Really
Well, it's
fantastic.
funny, on a sidebar, I want to get back before we skip the island events. It's for, we send this to our 8 clients that are coming in as well.
We do.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Well, we've done it for years because, to your point, they come in, and I've always found it as one of the best resources. We put together a little itinerary for them, and we put together our own little sort of, relocation guide, but that is a lot more real estate information. But we always tell them, like, if you're going to come and visit, it's not about the houses.
Experience it.
Yep.
It's the
You've got to dig in, and this was one of our go-tos that we send in the package, and they always get. So this is a really great tool,
I would say
for
that actually,
agents.
we're used that way a lot, and particularly because of the size of
Yeah.
the publication, because
Yeah.
we fit in envelopes, we
You
fit in
do.
purses,
Yep.
Yep.
so it's a lot easier to distribute that information
Yeah.
versus like a coffee table style book,
Yeah.
which is not what we are.
Yeah, go
If I
ahead.
could just say something real quick to our audience, if you would like a copy of the island events, or if you want
Plan a
the
visit.
relocation guide because you're planning a visit, please just comment relocation guide or island event magazine, and we'll get that out to you.
Yeah,
We'll be
absolutely.
in contact
We have a
with
whole
you.
package if you want to come and visit and explore real estate, explore life. Yep, absolutely.
Are you thinking about making a move to the Low Country?
Whether you're searching for the perfect home, or you're exploring vibrant communities on the coast, or dreaming of a new lifestyle, we're here to help.
Contact the David Dale team today and let's make your dream a reality.
So speaking about that, what makes island events stand out as a visitor's guide or an event resource in Hilton Head, and why should somebody pick up the magazine?
So what makes us stand out is, in my opinion, is the fact that we are locally produced.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of information about Hilton Head, and there's a lot of places, whether it's blog style, whether it's just social media style, and I think that sometimes you miss the people aspect of why you want to move somewhere, why you want to visit somewhere, and I think that that's what we offer, is having a local team with boots on the ground.
Yeah.
Because we're from here. I was born on Hilton Head.
You were okay.
Yeah.
Hold on. You were born in the hospital here.
I was born in the hospital. I'm a Dr. Love baby.
Oh my
It
goodness.
is, so
You couldn't get more local than that.
Yeah.
I have never had the luxury of vacationing to Hilton Head because I had no choice to come.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was,
Wow.
That's a tough life right there.
I don't. We've met a couple.
Yes.
Billy. We've had a few, but it's very rare.
It's very rare
to
to
get
have
some.
them.
Like our team, I believe I'm the only one born on Hilton Head, Summer, Savannah, and Beaufort hospital babies. But we're all, whether we vacation here from Ohio or from New England, people moved here for that reason, and I think that's what separates us from just information that you're going to find for a resource, is that we're truly a team, and we're putting together 11 issues per year. And I think that we love Hilton Head, and we hope that is just, it resonates to the readers that we care about the island
community.
first and foremost.
Yeah. See, it's so funny because this is why you're supposed to be on this show, right? Because
Yes.
we have a passion of love, but we have it as someone who's discovered it, discovered it, and we're like, oh my God, we got to be there. But I think that is a key point to park on for a minute, is because 52 years, and it's not just 52 years, it's 52 years of not only watching it change, but watching it stay the same while it's changed.
That's what I was going to say.
Does that
It's evolved over the 52 years, and I was not around for all 52 years.
You and I.
We sort of figured that.
But even going through our archives, like, because we've kept every issue.
Wow.
So
That would be amazing.
You guys need to have that in like a
our
museum
warehouse
somewhere or
space,
something.
Yeah, it's just like, we honestly should donate it to a museum of like the original issues. But it's, at one point, it was a weekly
Wow.
guide.
How did you keep up
Weekly?
with the production?
Especially printing
thank
back
goodness.
then.
I
Like
know.
printing was old.
Printing.
Yeah.
And it was printed. So we print in South Carolina, and then we're proud that we do print in state.
Yeah.
Stayed local.
And we stayed as local as we could, and so we're happy. And it really helps us for a quick turnaround and everything. 'Cause
Yeah.
printing, if people are not familiar, printing is a whole to do.
Oh, it is.
That's a whole separate animal to just providing information. Printing, that's for another day.
It is.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we printing weekly. I mean, you were constantly in deadline.
That has to be 24 hours. I mean, because you hand curate these.
It was more on a newspaper type
Okay.
style.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So it wasn't the book you
It
started.
was still a book, but
Yeah.
it was not as long as you're going to find now.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that we still love that we're 11 issues versus having to create one
Yeah.
like yearly resource.
Yeah. It's so funny. I just had a thought. You know how we had the art center on
Yes.
at Coastal Carolina? They had that little display area.
I thought the same thing.
It would be so cool if you guys had like just a display.
We
of-
should.
That would be like a
We're
fascinating
proud
journey.
sponsors of the art center.
Oh, are you
so I'll
guys?
have to get in touch with them because I think it is, honestly, at 52 years, you're part of the history
Are
of
you-
the
Fabric.
island.
The fabric.
I was gonna say some of the things in our publication are older than things in the history tours of Hilton Head. So
Right.
It's really, like you said, the fabric. It really is. We're woven into.
And what would be neat would be go back to that first issue and say, okay, what were the events that were happening
Yeah.
on the first issue?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Style.
and then how did it
And this-
change 10 years, 20 years? I mean, that would be a great episode.
Hey, this is
for
a
us to
first.
do.
Right here on Real Talk Hilton. This is a great idea. I
I was
love
gonna say,
it.
my team is like, "Oh, Erika, you're making it. You're starting new projects. We're gonna be in deadline soon. Stop."
You're talking to a new project guy all the time.
And
no,
I'm
we
the
won't
production.
digress.
Oh, I'm the
He comes up with all these ideas. I'm like, how am I going
so
to make
sorry.
that work?
I'm the guilty animal of it. Anytime I'm bringing the ideas, they're like, "We're in deadline. Just breathe. Just breathe. Just take it easy."
So, because you're so proudly local and produced, can you give us an example of a hidden gem that you would recommend?
So a hidden gem for me would be, I think you mentioned it earlier, is biking.
Yes.
I think it is completely the most vital part is you need to see Hilton Head by bicycle.
Oh my gosh.
If you're spending your entire vacation or your life here in a car, just get out of your car. The fact that Hilton Head has some of the most extensive bike paths, it is, I mean, we're so lucky to have
Biking
what we are.
friendly.
And also you're in the shade, so get out of the sun.
Yeah.
But seeing
great point.
and what you discover, I mean, just even being able to stop and take a picture of a roseate spoonbill, you're like,
Yeah.
wow, that's so cool. So I think that
We're gonna have to
missed
put that
that.
on the on an overlay for people who don't know what that is.
A roseate spoonbill is what I call a low country flamingo.
Oh,
So they're
Okay.
those pink birds that
Yep.
have the spoonbill,
Yes.
and they're really only here.
Yeah.
And they weren't here actually even when I was younger. They're kind of a newer
They
addition.
migrated?
Yeah, they
Yeah.
migrated here. And being able to see them, they're my favorite birds, so I'm biased. But being able to just stop and see stuff like that, to me, is the hidden gem.
Yes.
Where you're just being able to get out of your car and stop, take a picture, just soak it in if it's just for you. I think that that's kind of more how you're going to really see the island.
Are you thinking of selling your home?
With our exclusive Elevate package, we combine over 50 years of experience, cutting-edge data analytics, our unique marketing strategies, and our extensive network to help your home rise above the rest.
While maximizing your sales price and minimizing the time on the market.
So contact the David Dale team today to learn more.
I agree
Can
with
I
you.
can I just two things? So first of all, you might be one of my favorite guests so far. No offense to our previous guests or future guests, but you know what just hit me is island events. It feels like because of the depth of the history and the longevity and the continuity, it almost feels like you're not only there just to, hey, here's what's going on, but you're almost historians of the island, almost
And
a part.
preservationists.
Yeah, well, just listening to you and talking about it, it sounds to me, I'm like, gosh, she has a historical perspective. You have such a good perspective.
And we really do. I was talking about our archives earlier. Something that has really expanded versus it just sitting in our boxes is that we have our websites that go in tandem with island events. So
let's talk about
our,
that.
Our website is not islandevents.com. Our website is hiltonhead.com and hiltonheadisland.com.
There it is.
So
And I
very
was
easy.
wondering how you
Like,
got those domains,
I was
because
saying.
those are amazing domains.
Our owner, she was just very bright of getting, we actually have more than those. We're bluffton.com, savannah.com, Defusky Island, Hardyville, St. Simon's Island, a few more that we don't even use.
Those are gold.
That's
those
like
are gold
that's
right
like
there.
digital real estate. That's like priceless right now.
And what we do, kind of what you're talking about of being preservationist is, for example, everything that you see in island events, it doesn't just live there printed once and it's never seen again. We post everything on our websites.
Okay, so you do. So if somebody is at a distance right now, they can go onto your
Or
website?
just if you, for example, if you read about roseate spoonbills in like an October issue from 2019, you can find that article.
That's great.
Where would somebody go to go?
So you're going to go to predominantly hiltonhead.com.
HiltonHead.com.
And you can just search in the search tab there for, we have a list of all of the articles, and some of our articles go back, I mean, we have thousands upon thousands of pages. So you're not going to see that in the main menu, but they exist on our
the
site.
site.
Yeah, it's a large site. So even if you don't see it on the main menu, there's information that we've been producing and keeping for decades.
That's awesome.
That's great.
I wanted to touch base too on the bike thing. Sure. It's so funny because we're always trying to figure out as real estate agents, how do we add value? How do we, especially a lot of our clients are relocation, so it's the educational side of things. And it's funny, we just talked yesterday. I said to her, you know what I want to do? Because you see all these agents doing community tours and this and that about whatever, behind the gates and all that stuff. I was like, I need to do this from a bike. To go around and stop in front of a house or this house right here is this, but let me give you a little bit of backstory. Let me explain to you about what's around it, because you're right. Until you see it from a bike path and get around,
You've actually seen the island when you've seen it from a bike.
Because
totally
it's all the
different.
little nooks and crannies, and you are able to stop. In a car, you're not able to stop. Or say, what's that path go to? Or where's this?
And also, I mean, the signage, it's already not very visible. Which I personally like.
Love.
I love that. But you're able to actually read the signs when you're on a bike.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's where this road is.
Yes.
Or stop off and read something historic. You don't realize how much history is around
And
you.
we have the plaques.
The amount of placards
Yes.
everywhere, and the plaques.
Oh.
The town has done an unbelievable job, and we've been promoting those for years. Because I really do think that the amount of effort that has been put into putting those out there, I hope more people stop to read. Because I'm like, it answers so many questions.
It really
that
does.
they may have.
Yeah, it does. And you don't see them a lot of times when you're just driving through and you're going straight. Everybody thinks I'm just going to the beach. It's like, but if you stop on a bike and you sit and go, whoa, what's this? And you read it, you're like, oh my gosh, this is like, whether it's a tree or a building. Yeah.
Second vacation.
Yeah, it really is. It really is.
So that's your hidden gem. Let's talk about an event that you would highlight. Yeah.
Upcoming is our July issue. So because we're event based, July is, when you think July in Hilton Head, busy.
Yes.
It is busy, busy, busy.
Everyone's
But
coming in.
there's a rhyme and reason to the madness. There are very planned events happening throughout the island. So I want people to not feel intimidated that there's just too much happening.
Okay.
Really, especially from a visitor perspective, you're going to predominantly stay in what I call the core areas.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're going to more be concentrated on Shelter Cove, both the harbor and marina, and the town center, that's going to be one kind of section.
Yeah.
The PD little sphere.
Palmetto Dunes.
Palmetto Dunes.
For the insider talk. Palmetto Dunes, Mid-Island.
And then on the other one, the more obvious is that you're going to find is like the Sea Pines section.
Yeah.
Okay.
So those two work in tandem together. They're the main hubs. There's things going on throughout the entire island, and you should read a copy of Island Events.
Yes. Comment below for a copy.
But those two areas are where you're going to find the most, in my opinion, generational fun. There's
Okay.
something to do from everyone from baby to grandma.
Yep.
That's where you're going to find the real core of summer activity.
Okay.
And that extends past just like the red, white, and blue of the 4th of July celebrations, because 4th of July is big on Hilton Head.
It really is.
We have multiple
Well,
fireworks
yeah, let's
shows.
talk about let's dive into the
Yeah,
4th of
so
July. Let's do
4th
that.
of July is really Hilton Head's holiday. It is, especially with the,
Aside from the RBC.
I was going to say,
I'm just teasing.
yeah, the whole weekend. But 4th of July is kind of the staple.
Yeah.
And if people are here during 4th of July, lucky you, because it really is. There's nothing quite like an East Coast summer,
Yes.
and it's just it really.
Why is it so special? Like East Coast summer. What
East
is
Coast summers? I'm biased because I'm from the East Coast, but there's something. It's a little bit slower, but it's a little bit magical. There's just something about it that you can't describe the flavor in the air. It's just
Electric?
summer. Yeah, it's electric.
Yeah.
And I think too, though, it comes back to the heart. Like South Carolina, most people just don't realize it was such a fundamental, foundational piece of the Union to begin with, just the United States and that history all the way back. And it's Southern, it's traditional, it's rich, it's family. There's just so much about it.
And I think kind of going back to that East Coast summer is versus like West Coast summer, but it's the East Coast there's so many individual small towns and communities
that's a great
along the
point.
coast, and I think everyone has their own flavor.
Yeah.
And so, like for example, for Hilton Head, it's fireworks. Like that is what you're going to think of when you think of 4th of July on Hilton Head, and the two shows that are done are out of this world. If you haven't seen them in person, I'm just
Well, tell
make
us.
a plan to
Yeah,
go see
tell
them.
us about what are the.
Yeah, and that's
what
next
are-
week. Just for the record,
Yes.
we're filming on June 26th. This is coming out on the 2nd. So we're gonna blast you, get it. But where do they go?
Yeah,
So-
what are the two events?
So your two firework big locations, like I said, are Sea Pines and Palmetto Dunes,
Okay.
or across the street over
Shelter
at Shelter
Cove.
Cove. So from the Sea Pines perspective, Harbortown is the center, and there's events happening with like Greg Russell, DJ Allen. You've got Rick Hubbard. Like there's a lot of family activities, but the fireworks show is the show on
Okay.
the 4th, and that one it can get very, very crowded.
Okay.
So plan accordingly. Like if you have the expectation that you're just gonna show up 20 minutes before the show, find parking immediately, like
That's not the reality.
little-
It's
Unreal.
get there at 8 in the morning, bike around, enjoy
yes,
the
bike
day.
around,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And also,
I don't know about 8 in the morning.
Well,
but just
hyperbole,
to correct that.
yeah.
and then
Give
on
some
the other
urgency.
side, the same thing with Shelter Cove. Shelter Cove's show being exceptional. There's things like summer jams over in the town center. There's Harbor Fest in the marina. There's so much going on that you really can spend all day, and there's activities throughout the week in both places. But for 4th of July, the big shows, when you think about it, you think you're going to be either in Harbortown or you're going to be in the marina, and that's the only place you can see them.
Yeah.
And you're wrong. That is not the only place you can see the fireworks. The best way to see fireworks on Hilton Head is on the water.
Amen.
That's the little hidden secret right there.
There's ways to see it with less crowds. Like if you're seeing the Shelter Cove show, people think of Hilton Head like you think of the sneaker shoe shape.
Yeah.
Is that a lot of people don't realize that there's a massive section of water cutting the island in half.
That's
Broad
true.
Creek is
Broad Creek, yeah.
Broad Creek is really kind of the main highway of Hilton Head. Like 278, it's Broad Creek.
Yeah.
So Broad Creek, you don't see a parade from just one side of the street. You see it from Both sides.
Both sides.
So you can see the fireworks from Broad Creek Marina. You can see it from the landing. So you don't have to be in the core crowd if you don't feel comfortable with that. And the same thing from the Harbortown show. You don't have to be in Harbortown to see the show. You could be on Defusky Island.
And still see it.
Yeah, and that's like a quiet experience, but you have to get there by boat.
Yes.
But being in a boat when the fireworks are going off, it's just
So funny because
we had not thought about that until you had told us. I mean, and I
really.
definitely
Oh, see, I'm like, to me, it's second
I'm-
nature that you.
But you were born in Hilton
Well-
Head Hospital. I'm just
Asher, do
teasing.
you know if we can have the boats out after dark? No,
Yeah.
we can't.
So we're
Asher
member of
works at the boat club.
We're a member of the boat club,
Gotcha. So yeah,
the Carefree Boat Club. Yeah. So
and that's the reason why. I mean, the boat captains and the companies on Hilton Head.
Yes. Explain if you
so
don't have a boat.
If you don't have a boat or access to a boat, it is. Do not think that being in a boat is unobtainable. And there
Okay.
are price points from everything from $40 to a private boat rental where you're getting into
Luxury
much
boat.
higher luxury
Yeah.
rentals. And you also think that you don't have to even be in a boat. You can be in a kayak tour.
Oh wow.
And see
And
by
they
the
do
water.
that. There's companies that will do kayak tours.
There's firework exclusive kayak tours. So you're out there safely with a guide.
Okay.
Watching the fireworks from a kayak, it's unbelievable. It
That
really is.
sounds fun, actually.
It is
Actually, we may have to do that.
unbelievable.
I think that.
I mean, I think that
And
would
that
be.
one, you're going to run risk of things selling out, of course, but less than the boat because the boat has a certain number of passengers that it can accommodate.
Right.
Whereas there are more options for kayaking. But to be on the water, to see the reflection, and you just like you can feel the
vibration.
Yeah.
Because you're in it. You're like
Yeah.
and that
Yeah.
happens both in Harbortown and Shelter Cove.
Wow.
For the
that's
4th of July.
Okay.
And then on Tuesday night fireworks in Shelter Cove, that one you can do boat tours every Tuesday.
okay. So every
But
Tuesday
that's the
when
other
they have
thing.
fireworks.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Can I ask a quick question
100%,
about the
yeah.
kayaking before we veer off? Would you recommend anybody
Yeah,
as a
so
kayaking?
you can find them in Island Events. Is that
There's a shout out.
so both Kayak Hilton Head, Outside Hilton Head, just to name a few.
Okay.
They have kayak tours. One's leaving from Broad Creek, one's leaving from Shelter Cove. So you have multiple options of being able to get there on Tuesdays from June through August, and then that 4th of July, you're going to have the. And some companies don't go out on 4th of July, so really just check their schedules. They're also great about posting the schedules ahead of time, but I do recommend booking early. So if you have, like right now, you guys are thinking about going out on the kayak, just pull the trigger and go for it because you don't want to think about it on the 3rd and then you're like, oh,
Right.
they're all sold
Shoot.
out.
Yeah. I have a better idea, actually.
What's your idea?
I think we just go buy a couple jet skis and.
He's been wanting a jet ski for so long. I'm
good
assuming
reason.
people go out on jet skis as well.
So
right?
that is not.
allowed.
No, and there's no tours. More
Well, I was just talking about personal. So,
personally.
Yeah.
I would not recommend it. Just because
nighttime. It's dangerous.
it's nighttime, it's dangerous. There's a lot of little nooks and crannies.
All right, there goes my jet ski pitch.
Go with the professionals. Some of these people have been doing it as long as Island Events nearly has been around.
Yeah.
So it really is. This is what they do.
Yeah.
They take you out safely. They make sure you have a great time. And some of the boats even have bathrooms. It's so comfortable.
Yeah.
It's really the way to see it. And I think that if you have any chance to see fireworks on the water, just go out
Just
and
do it. I love it. I think that's
I'm
great. We have it.
excited.
We
I
always
wanna
go
do
to
that
Shelter
too.
Cove. That's sort of our. And it's funny because you used to be able to from Hilton Head Plantation. You used to be able to see them. They would have some off of Safe Harbor. You could see it somewhere.
Yeah.
But can we pick it up down there anymore? I
I
don't know.
don't know. We haven't tried in a
Those
couple
ones,
years.
especially, it's just not as dependable as the main fireworks
The main
shows
one,
that
yeah.
you're going to see.
Yeah, we always go down Shelter Cove. I would love to get out on the water.
So
That'd
let's
be a good
give
idea.
people coming in or people who have not done, say, Shelter Cove, let's give them a couple tips, like parking
Yeah.
wise.
So parking is a big hot topic throughout Hilton Head.
Yes, it always is.
And that's the reason why I say if you're coming to Hilton Head, especially by car, try your best to leave your car parked at your hotel or your villa or wherever you can and walk and bike when available. And biking has become so much easier with e-bikes and
Yeah.
things that really try to leave the car parked at home if you can, because it can get extremely competitive, and especially for that, like I was saying, that multi-generational, like save the spaces for small kids and for the older crowd. So if you can get there, and also they have the trolley system.
Yeah.
So the and you can check
And
their
that's
website
free,
for-
right?
Yeah, it's a free service.
Breeze
Trolley.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that just we're constantly trying to push the education to really not be so car dependent.
Yeah.
I mean, the island, it's not that big.
And it's so
I've walked the whole
bikeable.
thing in one day, like
you have?
plenty of times. It's,
Yeah.
And it's so bikeable.
It is. I mean, you can get anywhere
You're not
virtually
biking
on the bike.
the highway. You're biking in a comfortable bike path.
Yeah.
And you can bike all day because the temperatures on those bike paths are a fraction of what you're going to be in the sun.
For sure.
You're feeling comfortable that you can be out there.
Yeah.
But if you do intend on bringing your car to whether it's Harbor Town or Shelter Cove for 4th of July or the Tuesdays, is get there early.
Okay. Like, what is early?
So mine is always plan to be there for lunch.
Yep.
Okay.
I think that's a good
Okay.
plan.
And support the local lunch establishments if you can. Like, just really make a day of it.
Okay.
And you can go shopping. You can walk around. You can leave the area. But if you're wanting to have your car there, lunch is really kind of that breaking point, in my opinion, of when to have your car there. Because it's unrealistic expectations to pull into Harbor Fest when the music's already started. You're like, no,
It's way too
because
late.
we have small parking lots, which is great because look at our trees, it's magical. But yeah, there's not a lot of parking available from that modern ideal perspective.
Yeah.
So I don't want anybody to have those kind of expectations that there's just going to be immediate parking.
Yeah.
I think touch base on that because that's a good point. We do have small parking lots, but there's a reason why.
It's purposeful, yeah. So
go
our
ahead.
parking lots, you're going to notice they have a lot of grass for runoff and to kind of really reduce. And you're going to see lots of tabby in the road. If you don't know what tabby is, it's that mix of oyster shell mixed with concrete, so it's more porous. So it's going to absorb some of that water because we don't want toxins running into Broad Creek. We don't want toxins running into the Atlantic Ocean.
Yep.
We want to try to keep our oceans and our waterways clean. So you're going to find that parking lots are it's engineered in a style that you're not just having a drain sending
Sending it
things
all
out.
out.
Things are getting more absorbed. And that's another reason why, just to kind of reduce that carbon footprint of having cars, because the island no place is designed for cars, but it really is not designed for cars.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and I love it too because preservation of what makes it special is the utmost importance. It's not commercial development. It's not.
No.
It's preserving.
It's oysters, you
Yeah,
know? Like,
right. That's it.
It's
it.
dolphin. It's
Yeah.
that's what really makes this place what it is.
Yeah.
So aside from the parking, what should people bring with them?
So the other thing is, if you're spending all day, wear sunscreen.
Sunblock. I was going to say number one, and a hat.
In fact, how many sunburns I've seen in my lifetime is appalling.
There's people I've seen on the beach. I'm like, honey, you should not be on the beach today.
Yeah.
You need to go put some aloe on you.
Every hour, just put it in your bag. The other thing is, you need to wear bug spray.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's
Because
a great
when
point.
dusk hits, those mosquitoes and
No-see-ums.
gnats, they are very, very aggressive, and
Yeah.
they do not care who you are. They are going to come for you. So I recommend bug wipes if you want to keep something in your bag, because it can be rude to be.
Yeah.
Don't spray if you're in a crowd. Please.
Yeah.
But just having bug spray, stepping aside, spraying yourself, or having bug wipes, it really is helpful. Just because, they're merciless. They just don't care.
Yeah.
They'll get you. So that would be my advice: is just and remember, whether you're living here or you're on vacation, just be patient. Give it time. It's sometimes you just get into the grind of things, and it's just enjoy it for how incredible it is.
And the fact that you're sitting on this island.
Yes.
Well, and it's the slow country, and that, I think, to your point, is a lot of these folks are coming from very busy things. They're busy to get here. They drive 12 hours, and you're right. Just the beautiful part about this place, there's a vibration that allows you to settle in. And when you do, it's really, there's something about it. And that's, I think, what makes a lot of people who say, I don't want to leave.
Yeah.
Makes, you know, it's always a visitor.
That transition from visitor to maybe part-timer and then full-timer and then retire, it really is that.
Because it's addicting, the slow country. You touched something, it wasn't on our question, but I thought it was a good point to draw on. I feel like the low country, and you being with Island Events and meeting so many of the businesses, we're not a big national brand. Let's talk about it, because you said support the locals, right? Because it is the lifeblood, and without the tourists and without the locals supporting it. So talk about, you know, who's in this and their local stories, local people. Share a little more on that.
I think that it really stems from our connection is we're a local business. We gas up our Island Events vans at Parker's and End Market, and we're here. We're a local business. And national chains do exist on Hilton Head, but they don't thrive on Hilton Head. I think that's a big difference, is that you're not losing some conveniences and comfort, but they're not going to be your prominence. They're not going to be what you're really seeing, what you're really feeling on Hilton Head. You're going to see smaller businesses, you're going to see mom and pop shops, and you're going to just, through my experience working with Island Events, I've been able to connect with those business owners. And so some of them I've had meetings at their house, some of them I've just you're in their restaurant, you're in their place, so you really do feel that connection. And even if you're not talking directly with the business owner, I am every single issue of Island Events. So there's never a month of non-contact. So if you're looking at someone's listing in Island Events, we wrote that. The business owner contributed to that.
So you work in tandem with them.
Yeah, we're just, their information is being put out there. It's not AI generated. It's their story. And even though we don't do as much more of just profiles of individual business owners, that's kind of more on a seasonal perspective, but it's where you're gonna feel the local business even in their advertising space.
Okay.
That's awesome.
It's a representation of who they are, because they've got that input.
Yeah, they're some of them are designing their ads, some of them exactly, writing their listings, some of them are they're contributing all of their event submissions. You're seeing the people of Hilton Head contributing versus it's not just our team that is producing.
Well, and I think that's important for our audience to know, because our heart is to bring Hilton Head. What is it like to live here, to be here permanent? So this is such a great representation of, if you want to know who the characters are, who the business owners are,
storylines.
Who is here on the island. This magazine does such a great job.
And I think you can even find, even if it's two entities, they each have their own flavor.
Yes.
So it doesn't matter if they're in a different shopping center or a different marina. It's even if they're in the same marina or the same shopping center, everybody has their own little spice to it.
They do.
And I think that's one of the things, as we've done the podcast, we've really learned so much more dealing with the individuals, is how hometown Hilton Head is.
Yeah.
It truly is just this hometown feel. That's part of the essence.
A place that gets millions of visitors.
Exactly.
It's a hometown.
Exactly.
But what I love, though, it's not only a hometown feel, but there's a richness, because so many people you're rare breed, right? There's probably way more that are not born here, that live here. But what I love about it is they bring this richness and depth of life, because their backgrounds, their stories, they've been in, we have a good friend who was worked at the Department of State for 4 countries and was an ambassador, right? But is our neighbor. And, just we can go hang out, play tennis, whatever, normal person. But you talk about a richness, and they also bring a perspective. And when they start these businesses, to your point, they're bringing part of that flavor as well, but they're not trying to change the island. They're blending in and keeping that hometown feel. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you're contributing versus replacing.
Yes.
Right. It's a real contribution system. And I think that's where it's a hometown. I mean, it's Main Street. Our Main Street looks different than other places' Main Street, USA.
Yeah.
And what I love is within the different parts of Hilton Head, each of their main streets are a representation of what that part of the island looks like.
Oh, like Caligny Plaza feels entirely
Different than Main Street.
than Main Street over here,
yeah.
or Shelter Cove Town Center.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, all of those locations are small businesses.
Yes.
Yep.
That's
And
the
that's-
real. That's the real.
And they all feel like Hilton Head.
Yeah.
You know.
Even if it's like you're finding it's like an exotic food, or it still feels like Hilton Head.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So, sorry, did you
No,
have
go
something
for it.
else?
Nope.
I wanted to go back to the event.
You're my twin. That's exactly what I was
we
like.
do.
Let's look, because that's what the audience wants. Like,
Yeah.
it's July. We talked about 4th of July, but what else? What else are the?
I wanted to ask chairs. Should they bring chairs to these events or leave those?
I recommend to not
Bring
bring
them,
chairs.
okay.
They can be very cumbersome.
Okay.
Don't bring coolers.
Okay.
It's especially if you're in the areas with crowds, and then it also takes away your flexibility. Like if usually they're sold out come time for like various firework tours or tours, but
Okay.
if you're lugging around chairs or cooler, you can't hop on the
So
boat.
don't bring them to Shelter Cove or
I
the Harbor
personally
Fest.
don't recommend them unless if you're seeing the show more from like South Beach or from Broad Creek or like the Marshland Landing.
Yeah.
That's more, in my opinion, an appropriate place to bring a chair.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
So those the places that you've just recommended are alternate spots. So can we touch on a couple alternate spots? So if you don't want to be in the hustle and bustle
Yeah.
of Sea Pines or Shelter Cove, where else can people go?
So always be on the boat first and foremost.
Yes, first and foremost the boat.
From Harbor
Or kayak.
Yes, or kayaks. It's still a boat.
Yes, yes, yes.
So from Harbor Town, if you do not want to be in the hustle and bustle of Harbor Town, secondary, if you're in Sea Pines, I would recommend going to South Beach
Okay.
on the beach.
On the beach itself.
On the beach
okay.
itself, you see a beautiful view of the show. You're a little bit further away, but it's a beautiful view of the show. The downside is there's no access to restrooms.
Okay.
So unless you know a homeowner or you're staying close by.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's
just
a great
don't,
point.
don't and there's and you're not going to be able to buy food and things like right there. So
Okay.
you can kind of that's where you bring a cooler for snacks.
Picnic, yeah.
And then the other side for Harbor Town is being on DeFusky
Okay.
is exceptional. That one is so.
Would you be in the Hague Point or would you be whereabout in
You're going to be
Dufusky?
facing Harbor Town.
Harbor Town.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
So,
get on this side of it.
So like Bloody Point up there, that would be a good little spot.
So it's but you can be on the beach and watch the show.
Okay. The Dufusky Beach. Mhm.
Yeah, and because Dufusky's an
right
island,
there?
it's all beach, but you can see it really right there, and that is going to be
That's a great idea.
Because
That's
that's
by-
way no crowds right there.
that is no crowds.
Yeah.
That is you're going to be by yourself. It's a little bit darker over there as well.
Yeah, yeah.
So that is really like if you want a more private experience and you have a way to get to Dufusky,
Yeah.
but remember if you're there for the show, make sure you have your transportation already planned.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to be stuck.
Or
on
spend the
Dufusky.
night.
You can spend the night.
Find an Airbnb. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's such a small community on Dufusky, so do your due diligence and really kind of, if you're going to go for that really low-key experience, kind of plan.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then back to what you're saying for the Shelter Cove side
Yeah.
is Broad Creek Marina across. They have restaurants, they have the marina. You can see the show from there, and you're going to have less crowds.
Okay.
And then the other one is the public boat landing on Marshland Road.
Yeah.
So that one is open to the public. You do not have to have a boat. You can just be there.
Yep.
But you can see the show.
Do those get pretty packed too?
Those, especially, I mean, it's 4th of July.
Yeah. Everywhere's packed.
Really, the only place that's not truly packed is Dufusky.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll put overlays, as you're saying. I'll just do overlays with
people
maps.
that are-
We'll point people where they are, who
If
are
you-
coming in.
If you're listening to the podcast, you can check it out on YouTube.
Yeah, yeah. Or hit HiltonHead.com.
Yes. Sorry.
You know, one or the other.
And that was with the boat tours. We have a full. You can scan a QR code in the July issue to see all of the ones available, and that
great.
just takes you straight to an article on our website that will list everything, and then you can go ahead and book.
Oh, wonderful. That's great.
That's good. All right.
Back at it.
Yeah. Okay.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing so much about the 4th of July. That's just such great info. Do you want to talk a little bit more about some other summer activities?
Yeah, so outside of the 4th of July and Tuesday night fireworks, there are summer activities happening every single night of the week. So if you are ever bored on Hilton Head, especially during the month of July, just
There's something wrong.
go read some events.
Exactly.
Pick
up that magazine.
pick up a copy. There are activities within Sea Pines every night of the week. There's wagon rides. There's like they said, the DJs. There's face painting. There's tie-dye activities. There's so many fun
Horseback riding.
Yeah, horseback riding,
Mm-hmm.
and also
Concerts.
for adult couples, there's a lot to do. That it's you can go make candles. You can go do things like there's a lot of activities happening within even just Sea Pines, and then same thing for Shelter Cove. There's summer jams, and then super summer jams is for the fireworks perspective. But there's things happening in Shelter Cove Marina every night of the week for Harbor Fest. It's not just Tuesday night fireworks. So I just want people to not think that the only thing to do on Hilton Head is fireworks.
Fireworks, yeah.
And then you think about those core areas. That's what I was talking about. That's where you're going to find the bulk of visitors, and then the other section being kind of the Coligny Circle. Is where a lot of that south end of the island is where you're going to find a lot of concentration of activities, and there's things happening at the Sandbox. There's things happening in Coligny Plaza.
What's the Sandbox?
So the Sandbox is a children's museum.
Okay.
And they have summer camp activities. They have, it's a great place to take kids.
Yeah.
And then across the street at Coligny Plaza is the original. It's the original shopping center. Of Hilton Head. It's really it's cool.
the unofficial downtown.
It is. It's our big mall.
Yeah.
And there's a stage in the center of Coligny Plaza that sometimes you may miss if you're only seeing it from the parking lot perspective. And don't park there if you're going to the beach.
Can I ride my bike in there?
You can ride your bike there.
Okay.
So yes, but do not use Coligny Plaza's parking lot if you're planning on going to the beach.
That's right.
You will
Get towed. Yep, for sure.
And that is very, very inconsiderate. Yeah. So like those businesses and those people need those parking spaces. But Coligny Plaza, they have music happening every single night of the week. They have activities in the kiosks. They have various shops have specials during the summer. Yeah. So I think that is kind of what I was saying is slow things down and just really absorb every area you're in. Yeah. Don't just get there. If you don't immediately find something to do, don't give up. Just walk around. Just take a beat and really kind of just soak in what every place has to offer.
Yeah, and we didn't even mention Celebration Park. Because do you cover a lot of because they have a ton of events there all the time.
Yeah, Celebration Park, especially through the Island Rec Center and various seasonal events in Celebration Park. Celebration Park has been a wonderful addition to Hilton Head.
It's so beautiful.
And I think that that's really kind of that magic of what you were saying, not the overdevelopment. Mm-hmm. It really is a more careful contribution versus it just being like, oh, we're going to clear cut some trees and put a park. It was really, really thought out.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I've noted. When was it? 2 years ago, 3 years ago that Celebration Park opened?
I have to look up the exact date.
It's fairly new. I mean, it's that recent, and that pirate ship.
I've been with Island Events for 10 years, and it was definitely during my tenure.
Yeah.
That it's within the last decade that it's been added.
Yeah.
So that's new on Hilton Head.
It is.
Yeah, it is.
Which is wild. Yeah.
Well, when we first moved here in 2018, I mean, because it was funny you mentioned the Sandbox. We used to go to the Sandbox when it was in that little house behind the church.
First one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we took him there actually when he was a kid.
And
yeah.
there.
But you're right. Yeah, and it came after that because we were so excited. Because I mean, it was like you wondered what they were going to do and what was there. You couldn't really even tell.
Because it was just trees, right? Mm-hmm. It was an empty lot at the time.
I think it was like an old putt-putt golf course or something.
That was one of legendary golf courses.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's another thing is there's so many activities you should go mini golfing. You can go disc golfing. You can do so many things that you really get out of that digital fatigue and that doom scroll. Where you're just don't be on your phone the whole time you're on vacation. There's so much to do.
There really is.
So speaking of golf courses, disc golf courses, do you know much about that new park that they're starting to develop by Port Royal?
Yeah, so
it used to be a golf course.
That one is still in development.
Yes,
And
yes.
but we're definitely going to include information about it in future issues.
Okay.
Yeah, we always just want to make sure we're putting out the information kind of as we get it, and because you don't want to. The only thing about print is it is permanent.
Yes.
So you can't do an edit, or you have to do a disclaimer later. So
Yes.
we're more careful on releasing
when it's ready.
information that is yet to come.
Yeah.
Because we do take the dogs. You can go walk there. So if you want to go walking, you can go walk there. But there is a disc golf course in there. When you mentioned that, I'm like, that's a great location for it. Are there any other courses on the island that you're aware of for disc golf
Or the area.
the area? Yeah.
The best way I would say is just use our website.
Yeah.
It's because I don't want to speak on
Yeah,
the wrong.
yeah, you're
and
good.
I'm not a disc golfer personally, so
yeah.
that one is. But you always just look it up ahead of time, and like I said, we have thousands and thousands of articles and postings on our sites. So,
On HiltonHead.com.
Start there.
Yes.
so that's a great. Yeah, I would always say use that as your first and foremost resource.
Awesome. So let's talk a little bit more, since we talked about the website, about your digital outreach. Can people sign up with you?
So our digital outreach, so we have Island Events Magazine, HiltonHead.com, and HiltonHeadIsland.com. They're all separate entities.
Okay.
But they all work together. So we're putting articles from Island Events on the site, but we also have individual content on each site. You'll see mirrored material, but they are two separate functioning sites. And whenever you go to our website, you're going to see an email prompt to sign up for our email list. I highly recommend signing up for our email list because we send island events every month to our email list, where you're going to see features, you're going to see like little highlights, and you have a full digital copy right there. And it's just an easy way to kind of stay connected. And we also put a lot of offers in there. So there's vacation rental offers, there's activity offers, that if you're an email subscriber, you're really getting just that one more connection to the island.
Good to know.
And you can sign up on both websites very easily, but it's going to prompt you immediately.
Okay.
And copies of Island Events and our other publication in Savannah Scene, are on the websites on the bottom of every page.
Okay.
So, and you're going to be able to access full digital issues, and it's great because if you see something that you love in the magazine, like if you're like, I want to go to Caligny Plaza, you can just tap Caligny Plaza and it takes you straight to their website.
Okay.
Oh, that's great.
Wonderful.
So it's really just a way to add digital. We see our digital presence as a distribution point.
Correct.
Because distribution is what we excel in. We have physical copies throughout the entire area, but that digital perspective is just that one added element.
Yeah.
And sometimes like you clip a coupon from the book and you're like, I'm not using it as much anymore, that you still have the reference point on the digital copy.
Okay.
Are you guys on social?
We are. So you're going to find our branding on social is under HiltonHead.com.
Okay.
Got it.
So
So
you
that's the-
Facebook, Instagram.
Yes, Facebook and Instagram as our prominence, and we post just a lot of community pictures and stuff there, and we link to events. But it's just another way to stay connected.
That's a very wise choice.
It is.
HiltonHead.com.
The magazine, where can people pick up a magazine?
So the magazine can be picked up, especially if you're flying into Hilton Head. You can get it at the Savannah Airport, you can get it at the airports, but you're going to be able to find them in vacation rental company packages at all of the hotels, because we own and operate rat card distribution on Hilton Head.
Okay.
So oftentimes we're the only publication permitted in hotels.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
And vacation rental packages, because of the size of our publication, it's very convenient, and you're just going to be getting that directly to you.
Yeah.
And other hotspot locations, you're going to see outdoor boxes in Caligny Plaza, Shelter Cove. You're going to just see quick access points, and even some grocery stores like Harris Teeter. You can pick
That's where
up
I get it
copies.
from.
Yeah,
Harris
we
Teeter.
get that on Main Street, Harris Teeter.
South of Harris Teeter.
Yes, Harris Teeter.
But and we are often even people who, if they're not some of the bigger vacation rental companies where we're not delivering them magazines directly, a lot of people who are like smaller boutique agencies, they'll pick up several copies from places like Harris Teeter.
Yeah.
And sometimes because our distribution staff are full time, sometimes they just meet up in the parking lot and they're like, here's half a box.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's great.
So
We need to
it's
get that.
local.
Well, it's funny because that's what I do. I go to Harris Teeter,
take
my
a chunk.
snacks,
Yeah.
and then that's what we send out.
We can always tell when we call it, the chunks are taken.
The chunks are taken.
Because it's like, oh, like this realtor was there. That took,
I'm a chunker.
as I say, the chunk over here. I see the faces because,
You know.
and that's even in my aspect. Like, even though I'm not a distribution team member, I'm so involved with distribution. It's just that really, again, that's that added element of being a small business on Hilton Head.
Yeah.
Is that I see my physical racks and I'm like, oh, this issue sun bleached, and I'll just replace it and stuff. So it's really a team effort to make sure that we keep our stuff clean, we keep our stuff current.
Yeah.
But you can find them throughout Hilton Head, Bluffton locations. And Bluffton, the grocery stores, you'll find them more at like Food Lions.
Okay.
But really, if you're in doubt, you can always find them in a hotel. If you don't
Okay.
feel comfortable in a hotel, there are plenty of locations throughout the island.
Well, I know we've talked a lot about island events. You have other publications too
Yeah,
in the
so-
area. Do you want to talk a little bit to that?
We, like I mentioned, we do rack card distribution.
What is that?
So
for
rack
people?
cards are those like cards that you see
Okay.
with visitor information. We do not produce the card.
Oh, so like in the hotels when you have like the book stand almost. and
Okay.
We're the
They're
stand.
all in there.
That is
Okay.
us.
Okay.
So
Gotcha.
that is a separate entity from Island Events. You'll find Island Events in all of our stands.
Okay.
But that is, we do the distribution for those businesses. So that's another added element where we're connecting with local businesses.
makes
That
sense.
they print their cards, but we're the ones who put them out there.
Okay.
And it's a big effort to put them out there because we're talking to the concierges, we're getting in with the hotels, and it's we've built that relationship for decades and decades. So we're often the only people permitted.
And if I could just plug that for you with our local businesses, if you're looking for that service, can they reach out to
Yeah,
you?
so,
because that's a great way to. I mean, every time we go into, we're picking off the cards.
Yeah, no, it is it's a great resource, and you can contact us through our website. Just if you go to hiltonhead.com, that'll be a way
Okay.
to contact us for more
And we'll put
information.
that up. Yeah, for local businesses can
then-
advertise more with you.
We, like I said, we put Island Events in our rack card distribution because it's our rack.
Yeah.
But we also put in a lot of locations our Savannah publication, which is
Okay.
called Savannah Scene Magazine. It's an identical size to Island Events. It's produced 6 times a year, so it's bi-monthly. And that is our Savannah side, because we own Savannah.com as well. So that is more that side, because as much as it's a state over, it's the Low Country in the coastal Georgia Empire.
It's
Yes.
like a metro area. I mean, you think about a town like Charlotte, right? Like you got, Lake Norman all the way down to Rock Hill, for all intent and purposes. That's how I view this area. It's like it's sort of one big sort of metro,
And I
if you
think
will.
that that's why I always kind of what I touched on earlier, like the real highways of this area are the waterways, because it's faster to get to Savannah by boat.
It is.
Yeah, actually, we go out of Skull Creek, right, and we can go have dinner in downtown Beaufort in 40 minutes from Hilton Head Plantation.
Versus the drive.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, and we
Yes.
just go over by boat. It's
Yep.
just way easier. You can just cross, the Port Royal Sound there.
From
and-
Hilton Head to get to Savannah, like you just pass Tefusky
Yep,
and
you're there.
You can see the Savannah Bridge on a clear day,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And there's also options like through Vagabond Cruise, and through Outside Hilton Head, they take you to Savannah. So
Oh, they can?
They'll
Okay.
drop you off on River Street, and you get a ride home. So
And that's
See, that's
found
a-
in Island Events magazine.
yes,
Yes, that's a great way to do it for the day. If
Can
you-
we repeat that? What is it again?
yeah. So if especially on listings on Hilton Head as well, Vagabond Cruise and Outside Hilton Head,
Got it.
they both are a water taxi to Savannah. So if you want to take that day trip to Savannah, you don't feel like driving, you're not familiar, you can take a ferry essentially, and it's just a really nice ride. You're gonna see a dolphin.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, you're going to see so much more of the ecosystem.
And those are comfortable boats with bathrooms.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
it's,
big.
It's more of a ferry service,
Yeah.
while also still being an intimate boat experience.
Yeah.
Because driving to a place for a day trip, you sometimes can be a little bit cumbersome. So it's
And nerve-wracking if you don't know where you're going.
if you
for
don't
some
know where
people.
you're going, and you can even find some Savannah information in Island Events. Like you You can take a trolley tour, which I highly recommend if you go over that way.
Heck yeah, yeah.
And if you use our publication, a lot of times there's an offer code, so you can save money as well.
Wow. Okay.
So talk about day trips a little bit.
So day tripping is, like, I mean, like you said, it's really, this is our metro area, which doesn't look like what you're going to find where it's a big city in the suburbs.
Right.
Our metro.
It's the low country metro.
It's the low
We'll come up with a name. We'll figure out a name for that.
It's the low country metro. And as much as there is so much happening on physical Hilton Head during July, you're able to take a step away from that if you don't want to be in that little bit of hustle and bustle. Kind of like I mentioned, day tripping to Defusky. If you haven't been over to Defusky, what are you doing? Like,
Amen.
It's right there. It is.
And again, you take a ferry, right?
Yes, it's only accessible by boat, but you can take a lot of those businesses that do those firework tours. They also do Defusky tours, Defusky ferry services.
Yeah.
So like Island Head and outside Hilton, like those H2O water sports, like they will take you over to Defusky, so you don't have to be boat club members.
Yes.
Right. And then you can, once you're there, you can rent golf carts.
You can rent carts.
You can get the whole island on a golf cart. You know, it's so fun. It's
You
fun.
can, and then, so that's a day trip option, only accessible by boat. You can get to Savannah by boat or more commonly by car.
Yeah.
And I think, especially for people who've never been here, they don't realize how close it is.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you see the mileage and you're like, that's far away. But it's from a highway especially, you're moving pretty quickly. Like you can get from Bluffton to downtown Savannah in, depending on where you are, like 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
It's really not that far.
Yeah.
Well, we play baseball over there. Our son does. We're always in Savannah or Rincon, Effingham County out there. Honestly, I plan for about an hour if I'm out in Effingham. I can be to the field.
Yeah, I grew up in Bluffton, and I really split my time between Hilton Head and Savannah. So it's really, I have such a connection to both places because that was, and then Beaufort as well.
Yeah,
A
Beaufort.
little less of Charleston. Charleston is still the further away, but I do think it is an option. So if you want to go, but I highly recommend if you do go to Charleston, don't skip Beaufort on your way. Like you should stop in Beaufort.
Yeah.
And we have Beaufort.com.
Oh, you do? Okay.
That's the other thing. So you have Beaufort.com. Yeah, and I think
those resources, and on our websites we have tabs to individual sites that you can access just to get a little bit more info of how to get there, where you're going, just to kind of get that baseline.
Yeah.
So if any suggestions in Beaufort of
For
where we
Beaufort.
should visit?
Definitely, I mean, what they've done on the waterfront in
Oh.
Beaufort is exceptional. It's, I think, even from my lifetime of seeing what it is now, it is really special. And it is kind of like, it's like a micro Charleston.
It is. It's a perfect, but very micro.
Yes,
but
very micro.
But has the similar charm.
Yeah,
That's that.
Oh, it's
and
in
the
my
beauty.
opinion, it's kind of more of a southern experience. I was
Yeah.
going to say there's a lot more influence of outer influence in Savannah and Charleston, whereas Beaufort really does feel like
It does.
like my accent always comes out further there.
Yeah.
Like if I'm in Beaufort, suddenly I'm like, oh, South Carolina.
South Carolina.
I'm like,
Carolina.
I really I can feel it coming out because it is a southern place.
What's funny from a real estate perspective, if I'm doing a debrief with a potential client, and if they need a little more, I call it rural. It's like it feels, especially when you get to Ladies Island and Daughtah and is it St. Helena or St. Helena?
I say Helena.
And so do I. Okay.
But it really depends on. Sometimes it's kind of like I say pecan and pecan.
Oh yeah.
I'm not a person that
well, and then you got Harbor Island. So that whole area though, but it does feel like a totally different vibe.
Which is so funny because you can see Hilton Head
from
the island.
Yeah.
It's really not far. So it's kind of like what I was saying for Defusky. Like you're looking right at it, but you're also standing next to like a deer.
Yes.
This is a very different kind of experience. So it's I think the fact that visitors and people who once upon a time were visitors and now locals, or people who are like me from here, the fact that you get to experience those kind of things in such an accessible way is really cool, because it's like you don't have to be it's not so high ticket where it's unobtainable for a family to experience that kind of magic.
Yep.
So I think that's really what separates us as a vacation destination is that it really is for everyone, which is a big difference where you're not just like, okay, I'm only going to get to like little shopping centers and a beach. Like you're getting a full package you don't have to be the wealthiest person in the world to experience those really incredible experiences.
Yeah.
And I think aside from the activities, the area presents itself in such a different way. Like you said, Beaufort is very different than Hilton Head. Well, it's not very different, but there's differences.
It actually is.
I would say as far as it is very different. And even from just my more familiarity with like Savannah versus Hilton Head.
That's
they
very
are
different.
so different. And it's funny because when I talk to people and businesses, and it's just like you look on a map and you think it's all one area. But I mean, it couldn't be more different.
The personality.
Yeah, the personality.
Even the Bluffton personality versus the Hilton Head island personality. I mean, because for us, I mean, I always relate it back to the real estate. You know, if somebody's looking for a place where they fit in and you're trying to connect with them and understand them, and you're like, oh, you know what, you're actually probably going to be, Savannah might be a much better fit for you than, say, a Hilton Head, because based on who they are. And you're right, it's a different vibe. There's sort of a different tribe. It's still a low country.
Yeah, and I think like it's when you live and work here or even vacationing here, you're able to get the sampling. So you can stay in Bluffton and you can commute to Beaufort, you can commute to Hilton Head and Savannah and do you can go to a different place every single day, and it's like you're getting a separate vacation entirely from those places. But it's also, if you want to live in Beaufort for that more slower pace on your day-to-day, but you want to go into Savannah more for like, if you want to go to the arena there, you want to go for the nightlife, it is not so far that it's not a drive away.
That's right. And get a totally different, like walking down Broughton is very different than going to Shelter Cove. You know what I mean? Or Coligny, right?
Oh, and it's, I mean, even streets in Savannah. You walk in Broughton versus like you go up onto Oglethorpe and they're totally different.
You're 100% right,
I was
you know?
gonna say, it's like everything just shifts, and I think Hilton Head's the same way. Like you're gonna get a very different experience in Hilton Head or in Coligny Plaza than you're gonna get in Main Street. And even though, like you said, it feels like Hilton Head, you're just getting a different spin, and I think that's what, I mean, I couldn't be more biased if I tried.
I agree. Well, we're sort of the same way. We're just
like that.
Unabashed, like we love it. And
I do things like in my own like personal social media presence and through my work and stuff. It's just like being able to kind of get those samplings. It's just really, really cool. And it's like, where else can you do that?
No,
I think you're a great ambassador. You really are.
Thanks.
For the area.
And actually, you mentioned ambassadors. Something that is really great that I love the Savannah Hilton Head International Airport. I think it's just.
I agree.
I am so happy we have such an exceptional airport in the area, and they have ambassadors there during the summer and during peak seasons. And those ambassadors are great. They pass out copies directly to people of island events and Savannah magazine.
Good. Okay.
And if you fly into Savannah, when you go down those escalators to baggage claim, we're right there on the front desk. So you don't have to leave the airport to get that information. You can just get it right there. And sometimes the ambassadors are coming up to you and just supplying information just to make it. And they answer questions and they're great. So we really, like I said, we value the concierge staff of the area so much because they work so hard and they really, really make it a place that you want to be.
Well, listen, so we're probably pretty deep in this. What if we...
any other ones? I have a couple rapid fire.
I think let's go do some rapid fire.
Yeah. Oh, you ready? Pressure.
Yeah.
Here we go. No, I'm just teasing. Okay.
Well, we're shifting to you and your experience.
More my experience.
Yeah, because now you've done a great job. Island events, I think we've highlighted it, but now we always like to switch gears to you're obviously a lover of the area, right? Because you left, you came back. So we always like to get your story and your perspective a little bit. So that's what these are designed to do.
Awesome.
You fire away.
All right. Best time to hit the beach.
Well, as you can tell, I get burnt looking at a picture of the beach. So I love to go to the beach very, very early. And I think that it's one of my favorite times to go to the beach is actually Friday mornings and Saturday mornings, because Friday mornings people are sunburnt all week. They've been going to the beach every day, so Friday mornings is a little bit slower.
Okay.
And then Saturday mornings is check-in time, so people are not hitting the beach yet.
Yeah.
So I really like kind of more morning.
The in-between.
But for me, I'm not an afternoon beach girl.
It makes sense.
That's good.
That's good point. Favorite place for that sunrise?
So my favorite place, it's not something that you really can mimic, is there is nothing like a sunrise when you're driving over one of the bridges on Hilton Head.
That's true.
That's a
Something
great point.
about driving over the Cross Island for a sunrise. So if you're on Hilton Head that early in the morning, to me it like touches on my soul even more than seeing it from the beach.
I love
I don't
that.
know why. It's just something about the reflection in my car for that sunrise, and same thing for sunset, for dusk. Like I think it's really, when you're on those bridges, you're seeing that reflection of the water, and I think that's why I liked being on a boat so much for those experiences, because it feels more magical.
It does. It does. Overrated versus an underrated activity.
So I think overrated, I'm going to use Hilton Head as an example, is I think it is overrated to come here for a week and only do beach and pool.
Okay.
I agree.
There's only
That's
so
a good
much
point.
sand and sun, I think, we as humans can tolerate. So I think that if you do literally nothing else besides just sand and sun, you're really missing out.
Okay.
It's just...
I agree. What about overrated?
Underrated.
Underrated, sorry.
So
that was
underrated, kind of going back to what we originally talked about, is really seeing Hilton Head on a bike.
Okay.
I think it's like, I couldn't be talking about it more. It's like, and you don't have to own a bike, you can rent one so easily, but because I don't personally have a bike, so I just rent one every time I go.
Do you have recommendations for a rental?
Oh, well, no, we already have one.
Okay.
He's going to be on the show. They were on the show. Sorry. Sorry.
You can have multiple.
We can have
You can have
multiple.
multiple.
You can find
We have really
you
good
can find them
friends.
in Island of
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
Take your pick.
Take your pick.
Good
There's
answer.
Sorry.
so many different ones. But for me, personally, I love being on a bike.
On a bike. And we agree with you on that.
Yeah,
That's
100%.
a great point.
So where is your favorite go-to place where that, like, you strike me as somebody who, like, it touches your soul? Where is that place you go to when you just want to be
Recharge.
just by yourself, recharged, connected, that you say, this is my spot?
So sometimes, especially within my personal and professional schedule, it's very busy. And you're talking to a lot of people, you're really kind of, sometimes you just need to not talk to a person. So you really need a separation. And I think in your guys' field, same thing. Like,
Yeah.
and,
For sure.
That's why we're asking the question. We know your spots.
So when I'm on Hilton Head, a place that I often stop is Jarvis Creek Park.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know why, something about seeing an alligator just staring at me, it just,
You may freak out our visitors.
yeah, it's the same. Do not go near them. Do not
Yes.
feed them. Do not approach them. But you are going to see an
Yeah,
alligator
you
in
will.
Jarvis Creek Park.
Yes, you are.
The pathways are very safe. If you see them on the path, do not approach. But they have pavilion space for birthday parties, and they have tables. But sometimes if I just need to sit and stare off into a place, there's something about it that it's so quiet there.
Yeah.
It's just really, really nice. And I don't know why seeing an alligator resets me. I'm like,
Wow.
huh. And I think it makes you feel so like young and small and things. You're
Vulnerable.
Like, you look like a dinosaur.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's awesome.
What's your favorite restaurant? Go to.
My favorite restaurant is probably, I really love Hudson's.
Okay.
I really,
That's spoken like a true local, though.
Yes.
Like, for
Really.
real.
And I've had birthday parties there and things of just, but I really, I like to try a new place often.
Okay.
And I'm big on switching up the cuisine. So
Yeah.
like I love that in this area you can get Greek food, you can get Asian food, you can get Mediterranean, you can get all these different, some of them are fusion places.
Yeah.
But if I'm wanting to go to a restaurant, I sometimes just sit and I'm like, yes,
Just be local.
just to be there and just to kind of experience that a little bit. But that's more just on a personal side.
No, that's
All right, last one.
all right.
On the water, if you had, somebody says you get on a boat, we're going to do this. When would you go out? Where would you go? What would you do?
So if it's your first time on the water, I would say prioritize sunset.
Yes.
I think that is, it's something that you just feel, and it's less hot, it's like a little bit more relaxed, but sunset is, I think, if it's going to be your first time on the water, you should go out at sunset if possible.
Where would you go?
Where would I go? I would go over to Tefusky.
Okay. Oh, well, you can't beat it.
Yeah,
That's like, we do sunset cruises with our clients. We go around Pinckney though, and it's
Okay.
kind of fun, but we cruise
not
up.
into the island.
Yeah, but yeah, the Fusky is sort of a go-to. We love going over there, docking and sitting there at the, while the music's playing, grabbing a drink, just overlooking it.
Because I think sometimes, and I think you kind of have to build that tolerance for a boat day.
Yeah.
I think it's not for everyone.
Yeah.
It's you kind of get into the rhythm of both being on a boat, and every boat is different because sometimes you're on a big boat versus you're on a little tiny skiff.
Yeah, for sure.
You're too little.
Yep.
It's a full range.
Yeah.
So I think that if you're gonna just get your little toes wet, I would go out on sunset.
Yeah.
And I do have one last
Okay,
question.
promise.
They keep coming. One last question. So summertime, very hot. Water sports are really big, right? Any that you would recommend for water sports wise? And
So
what do we have? Maybe first one.
What's really cool is that there's water sports at all of the prominent marinas.
Yeah.
Okay.
So everything ranging from the smaller marinas, like you're going to find on Hilton Head Harbor, like over there you've got like Sea Monkeys and Island Head, and then
What do they do?
So they do jet ski rentals, boat rentals, parasailing, like every water sport you can think of. They've got it.
Like kayaking, yep.
They've got kayaking, they've got paddle boarding, like, and all of the marinas have that presence.
Yeah.
So you have it from everywhere, from Hilton Head Harbor to you go over to Broad Creek Marina, you've got Island Skiff, you've got Sky Pirate, more Island Head, Kayak Hilton Head. So there's just so many partners, the Dolphin Nature Tours. And then you go to like the larger marinas when you get to Shelter Cove, again, just countless amount of different water sport activities, but they all, like I said, even if they have direct offerings, like you're gonna get a very different experience jet skiing out of the Harbor Marina on the north end than you're gonna get from jet skiing out of Broad Creek Marina.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah,
And you go
Yep.
on a different route
You do,
oftentimes
yeah.
too, so you're seeing different things, and I
Yeah.
think that that's why. So if some people, if they've done parasailing, like don't consider that you've just checked off that box and you're never going to do it again, because you can go parasailing on a different section and it's a different experience.
Totally
Yeah,
different.
which
Yeah.
is
that's
really
a great
cool.
point. That's a really, really good
Yeah,
point.
that's the thing. When you
Yeah.
get deep into the waterways, you realize like, oh, it's all different. It's a totally
Yeah,
different.
because I mean, some places you're not going to be able to see Bull Island right there, and you're not going to be able to see
Yep.
Bluffton, and like you can see Palmetto Bluff.
Yep.
So there's different, depending on where you are, and I think that's the nice thing about having such prominent marinas in the area, is that you can kind of cater it more to your own personal taste and
Yeah.
where you're staying and the
Yeah.
location.
Yeah.
So like for you guys, like you spend more time more on the north end of the island in your personal life, like you can use that marina or Broad
Yep.
Creek, and you don't have to go into Shelter Cove and Harbor Town
Yeah.
as much.
Yep.
But you have the option if you want to go there.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a good point.
Well, Erika,
All right.
I just got to say, like, I feel you're amazing. You're a historian. You're an ambassador. You're a lover of Hilton Head. You have such a presence with this business. I mean, it's been an honor to have you on.
Thank
we
you
really
so
appreciate
much
it.
for having
Yeah,
me.
absolutely.
I love what I do, and I love, it's just, it is a bias. It's a total.
We
but-
get to do this as jobs. I mean, how lucky are we?
And I'm trained professionally in like marketing and advertising, but I have such a different experience than some of my cohorts who are in a very traditional office or work from home experience. Like you get a really different perspective, and I think it's just no, I'm so happy to be here. I love promoting what I do, and just I mean, I couldn't talk about this area more if I tried.
That's
Well, we're
great.
going to have you back again
I would
very
love
soon
to
to
be
talk
back.
some more.
So yeah, bring
about the
because
area.
the events are always changing, the
Yes.
calendar's always changing.
We're always changing, and like I said, we do produce 11 issues per year, so there's always more to talk about, because sometimes things that you find in our July issue, you're going to not see in our winter issues.
yeah.
So it's a difference, and I mean, even changes in content from like beaches change, because
Yes.
like you can bring your dog to the beach
Right.
in the off season.
Yeah.
You can, it really does change per month. So there's always something to talk about of what's happening in the area.
Awesome. So Asher, put it on here. So listen, if you want to get a hold of Erika, we're going to put her contact information on an overlay right now on the screen. If you're listening to this, just watch it on YouTube. But HiltonHead.com, that's where you want to go. If you are a business owner, a local, and you want to be involved and you want to get into this magazine because of its reach, its history, its impact, again, contact Erika Hayes at Island Events, which is at HiltonHead.com. And for anybody who's watching, we want to do this ongoing down the road, so come back often. We want to have, the events are always changing, so be sure to check back in. But thanks for watching, and thanks for being on the show.
And for these updates, please like and subscribe, and obviously comment. We would love
course.
to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hair and makeup for this episode brought to you by Salon Celeste, where style meets sophistication. Let Victoria Gonzalez create a confident, radiant look with an expert cut, stunning color, or the perfect blowout. Book your appointment today.
Don't forget to follow, like, share, and subscribe to Real Talk Hilton Head and leave us a review to help others discover the Low Country lifestyle.